All right, so what we're going to be talking about tonight is how to create a vibrancy plan, okay? And I would love to know in the chat, when I say the word vibrancy, how does that feel to you? What does that bring up? What do you think of when you think of the word vibrancy? Okay, I want you to put that in the chat, some of the things that you think, some of the things that you associate with that term and that word. Miley is doing good. Jenna, joy. Okay, I love that, right? So a plan for joy, a plan for energy, a plan for being energized.
Jacob,
right?
I'm gonna get your jacket.
Vibrancy. Is there anything else? Thriving. I love that. Energy. Full of energy and life. Strength. I love that. Right. So a plan for vibrancy and for having the energy, strength, feeling like you're thriving, being energized throughout your day, being joy filled. Okay. Now my next question for you, confidence. Yes, Miley, I love that. Okay. So my next question
I need to put your jacket on.
is, let's see here, just trying to mute you guys.
Ooh, it's cold. Jacob, I'm gonna take the megalodon away.
Let's see. Hey, Krista. I can't find you on here. There you are. Got it. Let's see if I can mute you. Okay, there we go. All right. So confidence, strength, energy, thriving. How now, when you think of vibrancy and you think of showing up in your business, why do you think that that is something that you would want to have a plan for? When you think about showing up as a wellness partner, showing up with financial goals, showing up to, grow your business, grow your influence, grow your network. Why is vibrancy? I want you to put that in the chat. Why is vibrancy something that you would want to have in order to grow your business? Like, why is this something that we would be talking about on a business call? Yes, I love that, Kristen. Yes, it's magnetic. It attracts people. It attracts others because it's contagious. People would want to be like you, right? Yes, absolutely. That vibrancy and that energy, when we are confident, we're full of energy, we're full of life. The mental and physical energy and strength that's required to navigate any circumstance or obstacle with confidence and vitality. So that's vibrancy. I love that, Lindsay. Okay, so yeah, we want to have this, right? When we think about showing up and growing our business, like for me, one of the most important income producing activities that I can do as a leader is managing my own energy, right? And having a plan for how I'm going to show up throughout my day so that I am, full of life, full of energy, and able to, be the person that I want to be. Okay. So if this makes sense, just drop a makes sense in the chat. If you're like, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So what is vibrancy? The actual definition of it, I looked it up because I'm like really loving this word, and thinking of the meaning of it to me and what I think of in my mental image and myself when I think of like my most vibrant self. What does she look like? Who is she? How is she showing up? It's that energy, mental, physical, and emotional energy. And those are three different things, right? So we all know that. And I want you to put in the chat which one gets drained more consistently for you. Okay. So maybe rate those: mental, physical, emotional. So mental energy is like your ability to concentrate and focus. Physical energy is your actual physical energy of like, how does your body feel throughout the day? Are you yawning? Are you like vibrant, full of life? Like, where are you at as far as that's concerned? And then the emotional energy a lot of times is your ability to deal, right? To deal with stress, to deal with your mood, to deal with other people's moods, all of those kinds of things. So rate those in the chat. of which one drains the easiest and which one you feel best. So rate them worst to best. So it's energy, it's enthusiasm. Okay. And so this is so important to have enthusiasm in your life. And I want you to think about this, of where is an area of your life that if you had more enthusiasm, it would be better. Where's the first thing that pops into your head? I can tell you my marriage, my connection with my kids. When I have enthusiasm and I have like the mental, physical, and emotional bandwidth to give them the attention that they're seeking and that they need, and that connection, holy cow, our whole household runs differently. When I have enthusiasm in my business, I'm confident. I feel like the things that I'm doing are working. I'm usually seeing results in my business that, matches up with my enthusiasm and my belief that things are working. I have more bandwidth to take on, the things that I need to take on in order to grow, right? So having that enthusiasm in all of those areas is super, super important. And then I love that Miley said this, because to me, for sure, that vibrancy equals confidence. When I feel good from the inside out, when I'm energized, when I'm enthusiastic, when I'm paying attention to the things that we're going to talk about, I feel confident. And I know that like when I'm showing up as my best self, I have that confidence. It doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean I have everything figured out. It just means that I feel confident to show up and take on my day. Okay, so I'm reading through some of the areas. So Donna, emotional gets drained first, then mental and physical. Lindsay, mental, physical, then emotional. Jenna, mental, emotional, then physical. Libby, mental. Jessica, mental, emotional, then physical. Emotional, physical, mental, physical, emotional, physical, mental, emotional energy drains the easiest, mental, emotional, physical, and then all the places where, this plays out for you. So emotional, mental, and physical. So here's the biggest commonality that I'm seeing here is the emotional and mental energy are the ones that are getting depleted the most, right? And then the physical energy is not as big of a deal, right? And that's like your physical energy not as easily drained as the mental and emotional, and everyone kind of like switch those around for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part. Okay, so as we're talking through this tonight, I want you to think about that, where you have that written down. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper, and hopefully you have a pen and paper and you're going to write down some of the things that we talk about tonight. And you're going to spend a little bit of time thinking about these things and then going through and making a plan. Okay. So when we're thinking about the things that, again, as we go through this and we talk about how to create this plan, what is draining you emotionally? What is adding, what is filling you up emotionally? What's draining you mentally? What's filling you up mentally as we talk through this? And I think this is a great conversation to have just as we go through what this means. Okay. So what kinds of things affect our vibrancy? I think there's a lot of things, but really what it boils down to is on this list for the most part, right? There's different versions of all of this, but for the most part, the people we hang around, the people we're in community with, if that's like little people that need something from us 24/7 and we don't ever get a break from them, that's going to affect your vibrancy, right? If you've got like a baby that isn't sleeping and you're taking care of that baby 24 hours a day and it's like needing you all the time, that's going to affect your energy. If you're not seeing people, if you're not like out and about and being around people ever, that can affect your vibrancy. If you are, spending time with people that you really don't enjoy and that are super negative, or just suck the life out of you, right? That can affect you. And then on the flip side, if you are intentionally spending time, whether it's virtually like this or in person or some combination of the two, you're intentionally spending time with people that are inspiring, that fill your cup, that push you to think bigger, to, dream more, to like think through some of these things that matter in life, I guarantee that's going to affect your vibrancy. And I want you to tell me in the comments in the chat if you agree with that, that people affect your energy, your enthusiasm, and your confidence. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Okay. Our habits. Okay. So when we talk about like nutrition, movement, supplementation, right? All of those things can kind of come under the habit umbrella. And the way we eat a lot of times has to do with habits. The way we move our body or don't move our body a lot of times has to do with habits. The way we, what kind of supplements we take, when we take them, like all of that type of stuff, really a lot of that has to do with habits. And we either have habits that are working for us, neutral, or working against us in each of those areas. Lindsay says, this is a big one for me. Habits is something I'm constantly working on improving. And here's what I want to know. Do the habits that you have in your life, do they affect your vibrancy? Yes or no? Like, do you have habits that add to your energy and your enthusiasm and your confidence? And then do you have habits that take away from? Yeah, absolutely, right? So we know this, okay? The next thing is our thoughts. And this one is so important. So we spend the most amount of time with the person that's in our head, right? And that person it was funny, yesterday we were driving to the grocery store and I don't remember what we were talking about, but Dace and I were talking about something to do with the mind, right? And so Addison's in the back seat and she's like, is that the brain? And so we're trying to explain to her, right, the difference between the mind and the brain. And she was like, oh, is that the person that I'm arguing with at night before I go to sleep? And, we're like, yeah, basically. And I was like, no, it's the person that observes the person that's arguing. So the person that's arguing, and I was like trying to explain this to her. Yeah. And she's like, okay, I'm not sure if I get it. I'm like, I don't know if I get it now that I'm trying to explain it. But yeah, we had that conversation with her yesterday and it was just such an interesting thing that like, did anyone ever tell you like growing up that the voice in your head, you don't have to listen to it? That just because like that just because you tell yourself something or just because you have this automatic, rambling of thoughts going on up in your mind, that number one, you don't have control, or that you do have control over it. And number two, that you have to listen to it and that you can't like talk back and change those things. I don't know about you guys. Did anyone tell you that growing up at any point in your life that like the thoughts in your mind, you get to choose them? And they can really affect, like if you are not intentionally choosing the thoughts that you have and the beliefs that you hold on to, if you've never done this work to start to notice what they are and decide like, hey, should I hold on to this one? Is that true? I can't believe I've actually been telling myself that this whole time. If you've never done that type of work, your life is about to change. Yeah. So Becky says they never told me. Maddie, they totally do affect our actions. Stephanie, no, it wasn't until Monday Mindsets that I heard the phrase, your one will offer it up. You get to decide what your mind will offer it up. You get to decide what you do with it. Right? Whether you believe it, whether you listen to it, whether you continue to do that. So your thoughts have a huge role in your vibrancy. You could be having these automatic thoughts going on that you're not even aware of, right? Rate yourself on self-awareness, like how in control of your thoughts that you are, or how aware you are, like how much time you spend thinking about this and intentionally doing these things. On a 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself on the self-awareness scale? Put that in the chat. A 9. Okay, cool. Lindsay West, a 9. Awesome. 8 to 9, 8 to 9, 8, 8, 9, 8. You guys are incredible. Cool. 7-ish. Awesome. And if you're like, I'm like a 4, but now you're afraid to say you're a 4 because there's all these 8s and 9s in here, that's okay. Like it is what it is. I used to be a 2 before the last few months. Okay. So your thoughts are hugely, it doesn't mean I always do what I know I should, but I am so aware, right? So you're aware that that's going on, and you're working on the next step of it, of intentionally. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, I used to be a slave to my stinking thinking, and a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it. Okay, so we're gonna be intentional here and create thoughts that serve us, and like that we're gonna choose thoughts that align with the most vibrant version of ourselves. And you will be amazed at what this does for how you feel and how you show up. Okay, the next thing is our environment. And this can mean a lot of different things, right? This can mean your house. This can mean your like everyday life. This can mean, your like work environment, your sleeping environment, your home environment, your social environment, right? There's a lot of different things that this can mean, but most of you that are on here, I mean, maybe not everybody, but I would bet that most of you are affected by your environment. Yes or no? 100. Yeah. Clutter. Yes. Clutter, travel, right? So even something as environment, like I need to experience new places, right? Like if I'm just in the mundane and I'm doing the same thing over and over and over, and I'm never getting out into the world or, seeing different things, experiencing different things, it's so important for me to switch up my environment from time to time, right? On a regular basis, like once a week, like it's important for me to switch up my environment and get out into the world. And that can mean a lot of different things: going to a nice restaurant, going out into nature, spending time outside. Like it just really matters for me to switch up my environment in that way if I want to show up and have a lot of like vibrancy and energy and confidence and all of the things. Is this something that you know about yourself or you haven't thought about? Right? If you haven't thought about this, or no, if you know. The environment outside is trying to mess with my vibrancy. Yeah. The wind and your power just went out. So Lindsay says no. Stephanie says no. Krista says no. So you know this about yourself. A lot of you guys, you know this about yourself. You are my people. I love this. So your environment definitely affects you, right? And then the last one is downtime. And this is so important I want you to just write busy in the chat if you are a busy person, or you have a lot on your plate. You've got a lot going on. Busy. Always busy. Busy, right? We can't wear busy like a badge of honor, but we do. Busy. Carving out downtime when you have a lot going on is essential to your vibrancy. We are not designed to be going 24/7. We're just not. We're not designed to be attached to these smartphones and have all of this information and input and notifications and all of the things like coming at us at all hours of the day, right? We're not designed to have like work that never finishes. Do you guys get that? Does that like sit with you in your soul that like you're like literally it's never done? We're not designed for that. We're designed to have seasons, just like the weather, right? And the kind of like the way that humans are designed to function. We are not designed for that. So finding ways, Lindsay, to carve out downtime, even if it's a few minutes here, 5 minutes there, instead of trying to cram everything that you possibly can into your day, or multitasking, or constantly be go, having downtime is essential for recharging. I was just telling my husband about the running to-do list that never ends. There's always tomorrow. Angie, I love that. There's always tomorrow. That's true. That sounds like my mom. I know this. I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. I'm learning to say no to things and be more intentional about downtime. it can be very uncomfortable for somebody who loves to do. Downtime can be very uncomfortable. And so even just finding ways to have downtime that feels like downtime, even if you're doing something, right? You got to start somewhere, Lindsay. You got to start somewhere. If driving and having like that peace and quiet, if you can, you know, tell your brain that that's downtime so that you don't always feel like you don't ever have any downtime. Does that make sense? This used to be me. Now more nights than not, I have nothing to do. My schedule works for me. My house works for me. I don't work for them. Yeah. And it's a slow progression to get to that point, but it is so important if you want to be vibrant. Those that are busy people, does busy make you feel vibrant when there is no downtime? When your environment, well, we'll just talk about downtime. When there is no downtime, do you feel your best? No. No. Okay. So you're gonna have some tough love tonight on each of these topics, not just that one. Okay. So step one in creating a vibrancy plan is, number one, you got to do an audit. You have to figure out what's going on. Okay. So in each of these areas, you need to spend some time, right? Thinking about, like, looking at a typical day or a typical week in your life. Who are you spending time with? And write down their names. Okay. Most of us are not spending time with huge amounts of people on a regular basis. We're spending time with the same kind of people on certain days, and maybe the weekends we spend with certain groups of people. But for the most part, you know, I mean, tell me in the comments if you feel like there's some consistency with who you spend time with or who you don't. Lindsay says, but when I GSD, I do feel vibrant, and I'm a person who sometimes creates urgency because I know I work well under pressure, which can create the lack of downtime, which is then causing you, like, when you figure this out, Lindsay, that GSD, it will unlock a GSD that you've never experienced, that, like, you can only tap into when you are fully refreshed and recharged and working from a full cup, and the GSD is overflow. Does that make sense? Instead of, you know, pushing yourself to your breaking point and then having, like, pouring everything out, right? So you'll get there. You're doing an amazing job. You're incredible. There's a next level for you though, which is the exciting thing, is like you're a freaking rock star, and there's a next level, and that next level is going to come when the downtime and the rest, you find a way that works for you. And it doesn't have to look like what it looks like for everybody else or anybody else. It just is what that looks like for you in your life. Okay, same people, large majority of my time. Same, Jenna says, same, Lindsay. Definitely struggling to find the balance. To be honest, I feel what Lindsay said, and I also know at the same point, it doesn't make me feel good. Yeah, we get a lot of, there's almost a high that comes along with that busy, hurried energy. And when you can, like, crush, it's exhilarating to be next to a deadline and doing things next to a deadline. Like, a lot of times we're addicted to that feeling. Right? So think into this. Are you addicted to that feeling? What causes you to do that, to overschedule, or to, you know, yeah, I know that high, and I've been addicted. So to overschedule, to procrastinate, I'm a recovering procrastinator. So I fully resonate with that, of, like, knowing that I work well under pressure. I 1000% work well under pressure and find it very difficult to do things, you know, before the last minute on a lot of things, right? I know that about myself. I have a tendency to overschedule. I have, you know, I know all of these things about myself, but again, this is why we're creating a vibrancy plan, so that you become aware of what are the things that you're doing, what's serving you, what's not serving you, and how can you create, a plan to help you show up with more energy. Because again, I promise you, there is a next level, right? Think about that. Put that in the chat. Like, what would next level vibrancy look like and feel like? Like, what could you do, Lindsay, with next level vibrancy? Energy, enthusiasm, confidence, just flowing out of you, where you didn't feel ever like there was no scarcity attached to it. You knew that every single night when you laid your head down, that you were going to be completely filled right back up when you woke up in the next morning, and that you could go, 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 go. And then right when you needed to stop, you had it scheduled in, that there was like some rest time there, and you could recharge and recuperate. What would that look like? Every one of you guys, like, what would a next level energy look like? What could you do? Could you do anything? Could you do a little bit more? Could you do a lot more? Would you be more connected? Could you make more money? What would that look like? Right? Becky says, I've felt this week, a next level. I'm so ready for more of it. So what does that look like, Becky? Has it looked like clarity? Has it looked like productivity? Has it looked like connection? Has it looked like peace? Love more, stress less. Yes. So I want you to think about that, of like, what would that look like? And is it worth it to you? Right? So Stephanie, is it worth it for you to love more and be more connected and have less stress? Is that going to matter at the end of the day? I need to find this. So much wasted energy on trying to keep all the balls in the air instead of taking time to recharge and relax. Yes. Okay. Okay, so who you're spending your time with. So Lindsay says freedom, more time for fun, more time for family, more time for trips. My house would be immaculate and organized because you would have somebody that you were paying to do that. I would be my most physically fit. That is, I just want you to put that in there, because I would be paying somebody to keep it that way. Honestly, sounds like a dream right now. I would feel like I'm more present with my kids, feel content with what's being done, definitely more joy and less stress. Okay, so think about that and decide whether or not it's worth it as we go through this and as you walk through the process. You would have her there every week, and you would add on a day, and she would do laundry, and you would stop doing laundry, and she would be doing those things. And you just open your mind to the possibility of somebody helping you with more stuff, so that you can focus in on the things that you do really well and that serve you and bring you joy in your life. And I don't think laundry is one of them. Probably not. No. Okay. Your habits. How do you start your day and how do you end your day? Those two right there. Just start with those and write those down. How do you start your day and how do you end your day? Everything in between, not as important. What matters is how you start your day, how you end your day. If you can nail those two things, everything in between can figure itself out a little bit better. But if you don't have the start of your day lined out and you don't have the end of your day lined out, I guarantee you the whole day is a mess. Because if you're not ending your day with intentionality, you don't have habits for like the last part of your day, then you are waking up behind the 8 ball. And then that just starts your day, and it's just this cycle. And then same thing, if you're not starting your day with intentionality, then it probably gets away from you and gets ahead of you. Would you guys agree with that? That how you start your day and how you end your day is super important? Yeah. Okay. The next thing that you're going to audit is, what are the thoughts that you're thinking? So Kira, I just want to point this out, is that you said it sounds like a dream right now. So what are some of the thoughts that you're thinking about the reality of you changing your vibrancy right now? Do you feel like that's possible? Or, and you can unmute if you'd like.
Yeah, I definitely have been working on it. It just, I don't know, this season has been a lot. It's the first winter that we've been back since having kids. And so it's just like the perfect storm of everything, but I already know and have plans of like what the next couple months will look like as the weather is getting better.
Mhm.
So being more intentional about developing the relationships with people that have started, and then getting out of the house more and all of that. And so just the buildup of the last couple months of just being home all the time with
Yeah.
just the kids is more of why it sounds like a dream, but I definitely have the focus on creating a different day to day.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. I hear you. I would just continue to observe your thoughts, because what if you didn't have to wait for the next couple of months to change how you feel about your circumstances? And what if you didn't have to wait to just literally, tell me in the chat, what if you didn't have to wait to feel vibrant, alive, like everything is working as it should be, like you're connected, like things are good? What if you didn't have to wait? What would that be like? Confidence and joy carries you. Yeah, absolutely, Becky. Be freedom. So the thoughts that we think a lot of times can be the thing that is keeping us trapped, right? Because if we look around at our circumstance, and Kira, this may be the reality for you, okay? And I've kind of shared this in some one-on-one coaching with some of you guys, and I'm going to offer this up. You do not have to receive it, right? You can do whatever you want with it, and that's totally okay. But I know for me, when I go through seasons that are heavy, and offer less routine, less sleep, less connection with adults, or the types of connection, like if life isn't going the way that I would like it to go for like my best case scenario, I'm not really available for waiting around to feel how I want to feel. You know what I mean? And like outside circumstances that I can't control. And so our mind is this really powerful thing that we can shift how we look at things and shift the thoughts that we have and change our own perspective to find that joy, find that energy, find what we need in what we have in front of us, instead of it being something that when this happens, or when I'm able to do that, or when this outside thing changes, then I will feel XYZ. So for me, sometimes I have to lower the threshold, of like lower the threshold of what downtime looks like in a season of hustle, right? That downtime can look like, locking the door and on the bathroom and putting some earbuds in and being like, don't come in here, just like having a little bit of peace and quiet for 3 minutes. And that be the downtime that I have, and me telling myself I'm so recharged. This is filling my cup, right? And changing my perspective in that, because if I'm telling myself that I don't ever have time, or I don't have the downtime, or I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I don't have enough, then that's going to change how I feel. Right. And I know, Kira, you have a plan for things to change in the future, which is incredible, which is going to help so much. But I also want to offer you the opportunity to have some freedom right now from the feelings, right? And some of that's just the perspective of that, of like choosing to tell yourself that you are joy-filled, happy, connected, like whatever it is that you're looking for that's going to make you feel vibrant, choosing that now, to think that. You don't have to, like I'm just offering that to you. It's something that's worked really well for me, to change how I feel, so I don't have to wait around for the outside thing to change. And sometimes, you guys, we go through stuff that's really heavy and really hard. and you can't get out of it and you can't get away from it. And so having these tools to choose how you feel and how you show up, no matter what, is a really powerful thing and can really change your life. Okay. I've been craving that morning routine, still getting the littlest onto a sleep schedule, never knowing what morning will look like is brutal. Lower your threshold, Jenna. A 5-minute routine. You are in a season of life where that morning routine is not going to happen. You know, like more than likely, maybe it is, but more than likely you have to lower your threshold. And then if you can start to tell yourself that that is recharging for you, you're going to start to believe it and you're going to start to feel more recharged. And then like, it's just a season and it goes by so quickly. And if you can find a way to get what you need with what you have, it takes that resistance away. And sometimes that resistance that we're putting on ourselves, like, makes it that much harder to even if we have 20 minutes isn't enough. A half hour isn't enough. The only thing that we're telling ourselves is enough is that routine that we're not going to have in this season of life. So try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but try that of changing the specifics, lowering the threshold, and just starting to tell yourself, you know, like offer up a different solution, you know, until you find something that works and sits with you. Because again, like sometimes we can be like, well, if I'm doing this, it's not going to work. Or unless I can do XYZ, unless the sun is shining, you know, I'm not going to feel great. The sun's not going to shine every day. So what are you going to do on the days that it doesn't? You know, unless I have an hour and I have a full night of sleep, you know, well, if you have kids, oh my gosh, Ellie is 5 and that kid still wakes us up. I'm like, 5 years, you know, if I was waiting on that, I don't know, she's going to be like, she's probably going to be an adult waking me up in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know what that child, you know, is here to teach me, but apparently it's that I don't need a full night's sleep in order to be my best self, you know? So just think into some of these things. And this is where like figuring out the thoughts that you're thinking, is it serving you to think, got to have that morning routine that looks like this? And then you look at your life and there's no possible way you're going to have that morning routine. So that how does that work? It doesn't pencil. So just becoming aware of some of these things. I'm working towards a better start to my day. I'd say, show me the way. Okay. Need to implement better habits. How are my fellow mamas handling a morning routine when your child has a sixth sense? I try getting up before. Yeah. I start my day reading, journaling, and exercise. My end is hit or miss, depends on the middle and all of the things. I love that. Peaceful, strategic, purposeful. Love that. I can do 10 minutes. Yeah. So hopefully for those of you guys that were thinking about that, of like, when you have kids, what do you do? Like, I value sleep, and my kids have always been that way. Like, I don't know. I've always thought this was a mystery when people were talking about the morning routine and they're like, get up before the kids. I'm like, okay, well, I'll start at 6 and then they'll start waking up at that time. Then we'll go 5:30 and then they're waking up at that time. And then it's 5 and then they're waking up at that time. Do I start at 2 o'clock in the morning? I mean, that doesn't seem normal, you know, and then they're going to be awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. So how does that work? Like, what's the secret? Someone should, like a mom should write a book about this if there's a secret, because, you know, I'm 3 kids in now and still haven't figured it out. So for me, it has been lowering the threshold and not looking at the way that other people do things, you know, and having an hour a day, you know. I don't know if I'm different or my kids are different or whatever, but I haven't been able to have that for many, many years now. And so I don't expect it. I don't need that. I need to be able to drink my water. I need to be able to take my supplements. I need to be able to read, you know, a page or 2. And I need to be able to have my coffee. That's it. Doesn't take long. It's no big deal. If I can do those things, I can start my day off on the right foot and jump into things and go. It's not ideal. You know, someday I know I'm going to have more than that, but not in this season. Kira says, thank you for this. It's all I know I need to do, but definitely have not been doing, holding myself accountable to doing it, which is totally okay. Reminding myself I need to lead myself before I can lead others. I want to help you with that. I need to lead myself. I want you guys to write this down because this is a business call, right? And so every one of us are stepping into leadership, and we know that self-leadership is going to help with leadership. I need to lead myself while I lead others, not before, while. Does that feel different, Kira? Yeah, you're not lacking anything. You're just a human being. You're making it through life just the same exact way everybody else is. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody has it figured out, no matter what they look like on Instagram. You know, everybody has the same thoughts rattling around up in their head. All you need to do is just try to do your best every day and trust that that's enough. And be authentic and vulnerable and share your journey. I need to lead myself while I lead others. That's the only expectation. I feel like I have to do journaling, personal development first thing in the morning. I have one of those. His name is Statler. I'm not alone. Guess it's time to lower threshold and take some of what I want to do as part of morning routine and do it later. Can't get up before the kids. Every time I try getting up, they get up earlier. Is that like a relief for anybody, for you guys to see that there's all these women that are like, because it's like everybody shares their morning routine and they're like, oh yeah, this is so amazing. And then pretty soon you're doing that for a couple of weeks. And this is how it would always be for me. I would hit the sleep, exhaustion, you know, absolute come apart wall where like I couldn't life anymore because I was so tired and the kids were tired and it was just a mess. And I'm like, where is the Zen part of this? I put socks on and quietly shuffle across the floor in an effort to not wake anyone. I don't even kick up the foot recliner. Yeah. And Lindsay's not a coffee drinker. If you're a coffee drinker and you want to have that morning cup, I mean, keep dreaming because they can smell it, you know, if you even start thinking about making it, let alone the noise. When they're teens, you'll be dragging them out of their room. Yeah, it's just a season. I've been writing that down every morning. I do my best every day, and that's good enough for me and the people I'm leading. And if you need to add that in, Lindsay, for like good enough for you and for other people, like you're doing your best, and that's all you can do. Okay. Looking around at your environment and auditing what your environment looks like. And then looking at how much quiet time that you have. Okay. So auditing these areas and just taking an assessment. Okay. Then the next step, what you're going to do is you're going to evaluate. And each of those things, like the people that you spend time with, how do they leave you feeling? Is it a positive charge? Do you feel more vibrant, more energized when you're around that person? Neutral, where you're like, I mean, I don't feel worse, I don't feel better. It's neutral. Or negative, and you feel drained. Little people, as much as we love them, can often leave us feeling drained, right? So don't think that it's like, if it's someone you love, it's okay. Being a mom is a lot. Being a dog mom, Jules, is a lot, you know, like our people that we love, you know, can leave us feeling that way. So it's okay. The same thing goes with your habits. Look at how you start your morning. Look at how you end your day. And if you have like some habits in the middle of your day that you want to evaluate, how do they leave you feeling? Positive, neutral, or negative? The same thing goes with our thoughts. As you start to bring up those things and become aware of them and write them down, right? So Kira, just kind of staying on that same example of it feels like a dream, or it seems like that would be nice. That thought, does that make you feel positive, neutral, or negative? So thinking through these things and identifying and evaluating our environment. If we look around at our environment, never leaving the house, does that make you feel positive, neutral, or negative? Having messes, having, you know, clutter. Yeah, Shania, it depends on the day. I was thinking that too. I'm like, well, sometimes it's energizing, but good Lord, by the end of the day, if it's neutral, it's like a good day. You know, if I can end the day parenting just on a neutral note, that's a good. And then the last one, which was downtime. So if you look at what you're doing for downtime, even, and how much you have, how does it make you feel? Is it positive? So sometimes my downtime can be getting stuck in a show hole. And sometimes that is not a positive thing for me. It's not a positive downtime, watching TV, certain types of TV. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes not so much. You know, so I have to pay attention to these things and look at where's my energy going? You know, recharging on my own or recharging together as a family. You know, just looking at those types of things and looking at positive, neutral, or negative. How does it make you feel? Miley says, I started doing a 15-minute workout every morning and my days have started out so much better. Yeah. Because you're giving yourself energy first thing in the day. Okay. The last part of this is you are going to intentionally create a plan. So you're going to look at the next 7 days after you do this, and you're going to create a plan with who you're spending time with. So have your calendar and write this out and be like, okay, kids, you know, job, or whatever it is. And then you're going to remember this leaves me feeling neutral. Kids neutral, job neutral, kids neutral, job neutral, have to go to this dinner. Don't like this person that I know is going to be there. They drive me up the wall, negative. Okay. So if you don't add any more people to your vibrancy plan, you're going to end the week in a negative place. Does that make sense? Because the rest of the people you're around are neutral. They don't have to affect you negatively or positively. And then you had someone that was like a negative, was a drain. And now you're going to be ending the week with less energy, less vibrancy because of the people portion. So if you know you're going to be around someone that, you know, is not the greatest energy charge for you, how can you offset that? How can you go into that situation with intentionality? Right? If you are constantly neutral, add some positive in. What can that look like? How can that look? How can you shift your perspective if you're like, well, I don't know, and I don't have any friends, or I don't this, or I don't that? How can you shift your perspective to get what you need from what's available right now so that you can raise your energy and work towards that ideal vibrancy plan? You got to start where you're at and build off of that. Okay. So we're not looking for perfection. What habits are you building? So I love what Miley said here, that she started her day with a 15-minute workout every morning and her days have started out so much better. So that's a new habit that she's adding in and she's building on, right? That is bringing energy into her life. So if you look at your morning routine, you do your evaluation and it is, you know, not good. It's a mess. What kind of habits can you look to implement that are going to start your day on a positive foot? Drinking water. I mean, the simplest things, right? Starting your day with 8 to 16 ounces of room temperature water with a little squeeze of lemon and a little pinch of Himalayan salt will change your life if you don't already do that. How many of you guys need the reminder to build the habit of drinking water first thing in the morning on an empty stomach? Write water in the chat if that's you. Yeah, I used to go right to work and I would get burned out. Okay, Kira, Jocelyn, Megan, Kristen, Jules. This will change your life. That's not hard. That's not a big deal. If you're not already doing this, the amount of energy and vibrancy that can add will blow your mind. Build up. Don't try to do 16 ounces if you're not drinking any water on an empty stomach, but start 8 to 16 ounces of room temperature water, squeeze some lemon in there, be bougie. Come on, you deserve it. Be bougie, and then a little sprinkle of Himalayan salt, and you'll change your life. I do it first thing the rest of the day where I struggle. Then I'm thirsty right before bed, chug water, then back and forth to the bathroom all night. So Lindsay, that right there is something that for your vibrancy, that's a habit that you want to figure out how to find a solution for that, because probably getting better sleep would change the game for you. Like not getting up and going to the bathroom a million times at night, or even just like one time at night, right? If you could just sleep and not have to get up and go to the bathroom. So it makes sense for you to start, get one of these things and carry it with you all the time. And, just make it a habit and start looking for solutions of how to make it work for you. Okay. So, water, supplementation, when you're taking your supplements and how you're taking them, protein, eating enough protein. If you don't know whether or not you're eating enough protein, and this isn't something that you're intentional with, just track it for a couple days and see. I need 100 to 125-ish grams of protein every day. That does not happen without intentionality. That is not easy, but I feel so much better when I do that. Moving your body, whether that's exercise, going for a walk, stretching, moving your body, figuring out a way and not being all or nothing with it, right? These are all habits that we can implement in. And then if we look at our nighttime routine, Stephanie Gilliland has a really great, she's done multiple reels on this and posts about doing a reset, like a kitchen reset. And I think like this is something, and maybe some of you guys do this, maybe you don't, but like going to bed with a clean sink is a must for me. Like that's part of my evening routine. And so like Dace and I typically clean the kitchen together, or the kids get involved and we pick up the house. That's like a family thing. That's not a Cassie thing. That's a family thing. And Addison helps, Ellie, not so much. She's getting closer. I don't know. She beats to her own drum. And, Dace and I, we clean the house and put things together and kind of do like a house reset before we go to bed. And having supplements, like I have a routine and habit of the supplements that I take before bed, and just kind of getting ready for bed. Super important for thinking about those habits and how you finish your day. And if you're like, well, I would want my family to do this, we'll start making it a game. Start offer like your mind the opportunity to find a solution if this feels like a problem, and give yourself time and space to figure that out. Okay, the next thing, what thoughts are you thinking? This one's really, really important. I am an energetic person. I'm full of energy. I have more than enough energy. Like, what are some of the things that you can start to tell yourself and you can start to work on that are going to have you feeling like the way that you want to feel? So becoming aware of the thoughts that you have right now, and then intentionally choosing the thoughts that you want to think and that are going to help you show up in the way that you want to. Changes that you're going to make to your environment if you need to, and planning that in, and then scheduling in downtime. Okay, so that's your plan. That's your vibrancy plan. So what I want to finish off with tonight is how to stick to the plan. Because what we talked about was really great. And I want you to tell me in the comments if it sounded great, but how do you stick to the plan? Right, stick or whatever in the chat. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. How do I actually do it? Okay. Are you available for pressure tonight? All right, pressure in the chat if you are available to have some pressure applied. Cool. I love it. I'm here to apply a little. Okay. So write out your vision. How many of you guys have done this with regards to Jessica? Now it's in my head. Now it's in everybody's head. How many of you have written out your vision for your business? If you're thinking that you want more vibrancy in your business, for your family, if you think you want just more vibrancy in your home, what's your vision in your home, in your marriage, as a parent? Write vision in the chat if this is something that you have done. Write need to if this is something that you're going to work on. Need to. Need to. Vision. In between. So I'll say need to. Work in progress. Okay. I have done, but need to expand it into home and relationships. Yeah. So write out your vision. You know, the first part is the daydreaming part of it, and letting your mind kind of just think into some of these things. I love that. Donna needs to reevaluate. That's the first part of it. And a lot of you guys have done that, right? So write daydream in the chat if you're like, yeah, definitely, I've thought about it. Dreamed. The next step is writing this down. I wish that when I get home back to Oregon, I'll read to you guys my vision that I created several years ago, these goals that I wrote out for all the different areas of my life. But I wrote, like, what do I want my marriage to look like? Connected and madly in love with my husband, right? That's my vision. That's not going to happen without a vibrancy plan. The type of parent that I wanted to be, how much money that I wanted to make, what type of business, like what I wanted to be doing and how I wanted to feel in my business, how I wanted to feel in my body, how I wanted to see myself when I looked in the mirror. Like, what was my vision for what it was that I was working towards? And putting pen to paper is so important because it makes it more real. Okay, and if you haven't done this and it's just in your head as a daydream, I want you to write unreal in the chat if what you want for your future and for your life doesn't feel, I don't want to say attainable, but it feels a little unreal. It feels a little distant, a little like you're not quite sure if you're getting closer, how to get closer, when you'll get closer. Like, it doesn't feel as tangible. Yeah, Kira, Shania, Megan, you know what you want, you know the feeling that you want. My overall vision is hanging on the wall behind me, but I'd love to go into more detail in each area. Unreal. I've got a huge picture idea, but no clarity on how exactly to get there. Yeah. So just write it out. Just write it on paper. You don't have to show it to anybody. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It's for you. Just put it on paper. Okay. And then I want to know how that makes you feel as you guys start to do this in the next couple of days to week, hopefully. You'll carve out some time to implement this stuff. I want to know how that makes you feel. Okay. Now here's the next part. This is where the pressure is going to come in. Accept the responsibility that you and only you are the person that will create that reality. It is not something that's going to come from outside of you. Someone else isn't going to come in and do the things. If you want to have the type of marriage that you want to have, go 100% all in on creating that, whether your spouse is on board or not. Doesn't matter. Maybe at some point they'll get on board and they'll be 100% all in, but you are in charge of creating the reality that you want to live in. If you want that, vibrancy in your health, in your energy, you are responsible, not anybody else. Nobody else is in charge of, all of the different things and reasons and outside things that we can tell ourselves is tripping us up from living out the vision, it's up to us. I want you to write accept in the comments if you accept that you are responsible for creating the reality. When you write out that vision, it is up to you. Okay. Now, the last part of this is that you want to take your energy seriously. And the best way that I can tell you to do that is stepping into the identity of a person that takes radical responsibility for their life and knows that having a vibrancy plan and having the habits, spending time with people that energize them, having habits that energize them, constantly working on thoughts and beliefs that move them forward, taking responsibility for their environment and figuring it out, and making sure that they recharge so that you have that overflow. Adopting and stepping into the identity of that person, that's how you stick to this. It doesn't happen overnight, but that happens like on the belief level and the thought level. And you just have to take this seriously. You guys up for that? Yeah? No matter what. I can tell you, if you're waiting around for some outside thing to happen, and then when that happens or doesn't happen, or this changes or that changes, that then you're going to do the things, you're never going to do the things. Life will continue to throw you adversity. And I really think that part of our purpose here is to learn how to, like to evolve and to grow and to develop that depth, to be able to, have presence, have peace, I'm going with the P's here, have power, no matter what is going on around us. Because that's when you can really be the most effective version of yourself, is when it doesn't matter what kind of curveball is thrown at you. You still have the identity and the tools and the ability to show up with vibrancy, with confidence and energy and enthusiasm, and you can make it through anything. Like, that's kind of what I think our purpose here is. And then to like come together with other people that want similar things and share our answers and build community. That's kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? With this business and with Amare, isn't that kind of what we're doing? Tell me in the chat if you're like, I'm vibing, Cassie. I'm totally vibing. I love this. For sure going to get it out of this week. I'm seeking so much clarity right now. Yeah, and the quiet, Jenna, is what will help you dig into the clarity. Okay, nobody's vibing with me, so feeling the love and the vibe. Okay. All right, vibing. Cool. Okay, guys. So that's the plan. That's the assignment. That's the homework, is to go through and audit, evaluate, and then create the plan. And then to stick to the plan, cast that vision and get it on paper of what it is that you want for your life, your relationships, your business, your finances, your bank account, your whatever the thing, or things, multiple things, right? Because we're multifaceted. How do you want to feel? Like, I want to identify how I want to feel when I look in the mirror. That matters to me. How do I want to feel? I want to feel a certain way. And that is going to come with intention, right? Because that's like my self-image and how I view myself. And I don't want to go through my life like not liking what I see, or just taking it as it comes. I want to be intentional with that. How do I want to show up in my marriage? I'm going to identify that. I'm going to get serious about that and say, this is what I want my marriage to look like. And how do I want to parent? What do I want my bank account to look like? How do I want to feel every time I pay a bill, or, you know, make a purchase or whatever? Like, do I want to feel abundant? Do I want to feel stressed? Do I want, like, what do I want? What am I doing here? What do I want? Cast that vision for yourself. And then take responsibility for being the person who is going to do the work and seek the answers and seek the growth and the development to make that happen. All right. If you guys want to stay on, or anyone has any questions for the last little bit of this, I know we went long and we just dove into some deep stuff here. I would be happy to chat, or if nobody has any questions, that's cool too, and we can just hop off. So if anyone has anything they want to add, or anything that came up, or a question when it comes to going through this stuff, now is the time. So Jessica, I needed this. Thank you. You're welcome. So here's the deal, Jessica, is I want you to implement. And if it's one thing, if all you implement is one piece of this, and you just go through the people and you audit, you evaluate, and you make a plan for people, amazing. If the one thing is your habits, amazing. If the one thing is your environment, amazing. If all you can do is one thing, start with that one thing. So don't let this be overwhelming, and don't let this be something that you showed up tonight, you got filled up, and then you're just going to go on about your life. Like, implement, focus on one thing at a time. I love it. This was a deep one tonight. So if you feel like that, if you're like, wow, this was deep, this was a deep one. This is some of the deep work that you know you're going to do as you build your business and you learn yourself and you grow and all of these things. It's going to happen, and you're going to be better on the other side of it. Cool. Awesome. Kira, I love that. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Just to keep it very short, this evening was rough, and I definitely had a breakdown, and just feeling all of the weight of it. So yeah.
Well, just to speak to, like, I definitely, and I know, you know, you've been with us for a while, and so this isn't your first money mindset call, but I very much so like honor that life can be very hard, and I understand that, and I very much like respect and validate the feelings that any of you guys have. If you're like, you don't understand, you're right, and I probably don't, and that's okay, and I'm not trying to understand or trying to make you feel any kind of way, but just offering up an opportunity to be with you in the mess, and then give you a hand, and let's pull you up out of the mess, because you can, and you have people, and you have community, and you have support, and you have tools, and you have all the things. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard and emotional and painful and, you know, everything in between. Yeah, we love you, Kira. And I'm so glad you showed up tonight in the midst of the hard and the yuck. So maybe this was just for you. And this season will change. Yep. This too shall pass. All right, cool. Well, this was fun, guys. Have an amazing rest of your night. And I'm excited to see, as we start to go through this process and you start to identify some of these things, don't overthink it. That's the biggest thing. Don't overthink it. Don't let it be something that's big and that you are like, oh, when I get time, make the time now. This is how you create more time and space in your life, is by identifying some of these things and creating a plan to have more energy, more enthusiasm, more confidence, more mental, physical, and emotional bandwidth. This is the work. All right. Have an awesome night, guys.